Welcome back to the deep dive. So we're cracking open the sources you've shared with us again today,
Yep.
and we're focusing on something, well, probably sitting in your pantry right now,
Hmm.
the humble onion. Specifically, we're digging into an article called The Healing Power of Onions from Green Time Wellness.
Ah, okay. Yes, I saw that one. It's quite interesting. Our mission here really is to look past the onion's usual role, in cooking
Right.
and really pull out the specific healing properties and um, practical uses for the different types of onions. The source really positions them as more than just food.
Like a natural health ally almost.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
And the article lays it out nicely, doesn't it? It breaks down the unique benefits for different kinds, sums up the sort of overall health advantages,
Mm.
and even throws in some pretty fascinating traditional remedies and recipes.
Yeah, some old cool stuff in there too.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with the sheer variety. I mean, who knew there was so much difference within the onion family itself, according to this piece?
That's what struck me too. The source doesn't just lump them all together. It really highlights how each type seems to bring something, slightly different to the table based on its makeup.
Right. Okay, let's peel back the layers, shall we? Starting with the classic yellow onion.
Go-to cooking onion.
Yeah. The article describes it as having that bold, pungent flavor we all know. Best for cooking, especially caramelizing, right? Where it gets sweet.
Exactly. And the key thing, the source flags for yellow onions, quercetin.
Quercetin, okay.
Yeah, it calls this a powerful antioxidant. And the article directly links it to supporting heart health and acting as a natural anti-inflammatory.
Ah, interesting. So that everyday onion packs a bit of an antioxidant punch.
Apparently so.
Okay, moving on to red onions, those, pretty purple ones.
Right. The source says these are milder, maybe a little sweeter, better for eating raw, like in salads or for pickling.
And benefit-wise.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting,
Sure.
according to the source. Anthocyanins.
Anthocyanins, the pigments.
Those are the ones, the compounds that give them that color.
Mm-hmm.
The article describes these as specifically heart protective.
Heart protective. How?
It claims they can help reduce what it calls bad cholesterol, and it also mentions benefits for skin health.
Wow. So different color, different key compound, different benefits.
Yeah.
According to the source, anyway.
Seems that way.
Okay, how about white onions?
White onions, the source notes they have that really sharp, clean taste.
Yeah, they do.
It recommends them for things like Mexican food, salsas, fresh dishes, and their standout property, according to the article. Excellent antibacterial potential.
Antibacterial, okay.
Plus, it suggests they support digestion and can help the body's natural detoxification.
That makes sense. They feel potent when you chop them. What about shallots? They always seem a bit fancier.
They do, don't they?
Mm.
The source describes their flavor as sweet, subtle, maybe a hint of garlic. Best for dressings, sauces, that kind of thing. Gourmet dishes. The article links shallots to supporting immune function
Okay.
and points out they contain allicin, like garlic,
Mhm.
which the source says helps lower blood pressure.
Allicin, right. And rounding out the list, green onions, scallions.
Yes, scallions, that
Yeah.
mild, grassy flavor, often just a garnish or used a lot in Asian cooking.
And their benefit.
The source highlights vitamin K,
For bone health.
right? Important for bone health. And it also suggests they can help regulate blood sugar.
Wow. Okay, so just looking at the types, the source paints a picture of like targeted benefits for each one. Heart health, cholesterol, antibacterial stuff, bones.
It's quite a spread.
But the article also zooms out, right? Connects the dots for a broader view of holistic health benefits.
It does. And what's fascinating is how the source suggests these individual compounds sort of work together or add up to bigger effects. It summarizes a few key benefits overall.
Like what?
First, boosting immunity,
Mm.
which it puts down to the vitamin C and those sulfur compounds you find across the different onion types.
Okay, immunity boost. Makes sense. And gut health.
Improving gut health, yeah.
Yeah.
The article points to prebiotic fibers in onions,
Prebiotics, right.
which it says promote healthy digestion because they feed the good gut bacteria.
Gotcha. What else?
Lowering inflammation is another big one mentioned. That goes back to the quercetin we talked about.
Fighting free radicals and inflammation.
According to the source, yes.
And the source also claims that some compounds in onions can actually mimic insulin.
It does suggest that, yeah. Which it says could help in controlling blood sugar levels.
Mm.
And then there's that antibacterial effect again. The article presents onions as having this sort of natural antibiotic quality, potentially helpful for, fighting off colds and flu.
It really does elevate the onion, doesn't it? Beyond just something you chop into your bolognese. Seeing that range of effects the source attributes to it.
Absolutely.
But the article doesn't just stop at the science bit. It gives you practical ways to potentially use these powers, recipes, even some traditional remedies.
Exactly. It moves from the what and why to the how. Practical application.
Yeah.
They give a simple recipe for a caramelized onion in thyme soup
Okay.
using yellow onions, olive oil, thyme, veggie broth, salt, pepper. Pretty standard stuff. You just saute the onions till they're nicely caramelized.
Mm-hmm.
Add the broth and thyme and let it simmer.
And the stated benefit.
Immune-boosting warmth, which feels kind of intuitive for soup, but yeah.
True. They also offer a raw red onion detox salad recipe.
Yeah, that one uses thinly sliced red onion, cucumber, lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, sea salt, and parsley.
Simple enough.
You just mix it all up and let it marinate for a bit. The source claims this salad is particularly good for supporting liver detox and reducing bloating.
Okay. Interesting claims. Now, beyond recipes, the article gets into some, let's say, traditional or DIY remedies, and these are, well, there's something.
They certainly are. A bit more unusual. One is an onion cough syrup.
Oh, syrup.
Yeah. The source describes layering sliced red onion with raw honey in a jar
Okay.
and just letting it sit overnight. Apparently a syrup forms. You take that by the spoonful for sore throats and coughs. The article claims it soothes and boosts immunity.
Right. This raises a question, though. How exactly does the source say this old remedy works?
Well, it doesn't go deep into the mechanism, really. It implies the soothing comes from the syrupy texture itself, maybe the mix of onion compounds and honey's properties,
Mm-hmm.
plus those general immune benefits we already talked about.
Yeah.
It's presented more as, this is a traditional thing people do.
Okay. Folk wisdom. Then there's the onion foot compress for fevers.
Yes, that one definitely sounds unique. The article says to slice a white or yellow onion, put the slices on the soles of your feet.
On your feet.
On your feet. Cover them with socks and rest overnight. It's explicitly called an old folk remedy.
And the stated purpose.
To draw out toxins and reduce fever.
Does the source offer any explanation for how putting onions on your feet would draw out toxins?
Nope. It just presents it as the belief tied to this particular folk practice. No scientific breakdown offered there.
Right. And finally, an onion hair tonic.
Yeah. This one mixes red onion juice with coconut oil and a bit of rosemary essential oil.
Onion juice on your head.
Okay. You massage it into the scalp, leave it for about 30 minutes, then wash it out.
And the claimed benefits for this one.
Stimulating hair follicles and supporting overall scalp health, according to the article.
Okay. So, if we bring all this back to you, the listener, this source is really making a case, isn't it? That onions, super common, super affordable, could be a surprisingly powerful way to support your health.
Yeah, it really positions them that way.
They're incredibly versatile, as the article shows. From just being cooking staples to being used in these, well, more targeted remedies, it really encourages you to think about the different types, maybe explore how their diverse benefits, as this source outlines them, might fit into your own life.
Definitely. I mean, going through this source has certainly made me look at the onions in my veggie drawer a bit differently. The range of potential uses and benefits mentioned is quite surprising.
Yeah, from immunity and digestion support right through to these intriguing traditional remedies.
It absolutely reinforces that closing thought in the source material, that nature's pharmacy can genuinely be found right there in your pantry.
It really does.
And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it sort of suggests this deep, maybe often overlooked link between everyday ingredients and our well-being. Something worth exploring more, perhaps.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought for you to mull over. Considering the historical use hinted at by these remedies and the specific compounds discussed in the source, what other everyday ingredients might be hiding surprising health secrets just waiting to be rediscovered right in your own kitchen?